The gavel struck with a hollow echo, sending shivers through the courtroom. The Elara's hands trembled, gripping the railing as if it were a lifeline. Outside, the rain hammered the streets like accusatory fingers. A phone vibrated in the shadows, its screen lighting the Rowan's worried face. "It's happening again," they whispered, voice breaking under the weight of dread. Footsteps pounded on marble floors as lawyers exchanged frantic glances. The Mia leaned against the wall, eyes darting, absorbing every tension-filled pause. Silence fell heavy, only broken by the distant siren wailing. A letter fell from the Elara's coat pocket, unopened, its edges curling like forgotten secrets. The velvet blade observed from the back, composed yet predatory, as the room shifted around a truth nobody wanted to see. The Clara's photograph, half buried in the rain outside, glimmered like a ghostly warning, hinting at stories the walls could never forget. Fear, anticipation, and the raw ache of betrayal collided in every heartbeat. Each inhale brought the taste of iron and rain. Justice had not left the building. It had paused, waiting to strike again. The courtroom emptied like sand through fingers, leaving echoes of whispered betrayals and footsteps that never quite faded. Elara lingered, heart hammering, as the Rowan appeared beside them, voice steady but tight with unspoken worry. "You don't have to face this alone," they murmured, hand brushing briefly against the survivor's arm. Outside, the rain softened, leaving streets glistening under the dim glow of streetlights. The Maya's gaze scanned the perimeter, noting details others would miss: the crumpled paper, the faint tire tracks, the discarded coffee cup. Every shadow seemed alive, as if the city itself had witnessed the unfolding truths and withheld judgment. The velvet blade's presence felt omnipresent, a shadow trailing even in absence, reminding them that control was never surrendered lightly. Yet, in the midst of fear and uncertainty, a fragile thread of hope remained, fragile but persistent, tugging at the edges of doubt. A distant siren cut through the quiet like a knife. Elara clenched the letter in their coat, unopened, as though it might vanish into thin air. The Rowan's hand rested lightly on their shoulder, grounding them against the world's spinning uncertainty. Nia pointed to a nearby alley, whispering about a shadow that moved against the rain. "We need to know what's missing before it's too late," they said, voice sharp yet fragile. The velvet blade's influence lingered in the subtle shift of wind, the flicker of light, the silent pause in every footstep. Even the Clara's faint scent, carried on the damp air, seemed to whisper secrets from beyond the present. With each heartbeat, the city around them became more than backdrop. It became an active witness to the unfolding unraveling of truth. The rain intensified as shadows thickened, folding the streets into a monochrome maze. Elara's fingers traced the wet envelope, hesitant, unwilling yet compelled to uncover its hidden contents. The Rowan whispered, "Whatever it is, we face it together." Their voices intertwined with the city's murmurs, raindrops striking metal, tires gliding over wet asphalt, distant footsteps fading into night. Nia crouched by a flickering street lamp, sketching the scene in frantic urgency, capturing motion, fear, and tension all at once. A distant window reflected the velvet blade's silhouette, reminding them that control was never truly relinquished. The Clara's photograph fluttered in the wind, seemingly alive, demanding attention, a silent clue insisting that the past had not yet released its grip. Each movement, glance, and breath carried weight, as though the world waited for their next choice. A gust swept through the empty street, scattering loose papers like confessions across the asphalt. Elara finally opened the letter, revealing smudged ink and cryptic symbols that made their stomach churn. Rowan bent closer, scanning the lines, voice tight with apprehension. This changes everything." Nia gasped softly, drawing lines between paper and sketchbook, connecting dots only they could perceive. The Clara's photograph trembled in the puddle, hinting at a convergence of past and present. Even as fear rooted them to the spot, determination flickered in each heartbeat. Somewhere, just beyond the rain-soaked haze, the velvet blade watched, calculating, patient, poised to intervene. The city seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the revelation to spark the next movement, the first domino in a cascade of truths that could no longer remain hidden. The letter trembled in Elara's hands as they traced each cryptic symbol, unsure if understanding would heal or destroy. Rowan leaned closer, whispering interpretations, his voice steady against the storm outside. Nia crouched nearby, sketchbook open, drawing connections with rapid strokes, capturing subtle details invisible to others. The Clara photograph lay half submerged in a puddle, reflecting distorted city lights, as though the past itself were mocking their progress. Every shadow seemed to shift with intent, every sound amplified by the empty streets. The velvet blade's presence was almost tangible, a calculated tension in the air, waiting to test courage and resolve. Rain-slicked pavement glimmered under streetlights, reflecting fleeting hope and persistent fear in equal measure. Each heartbeat echoed the urgency, find the hidden truth before it vanishes again. A distant train rumbled across the bridge, vibrations echoing through the empty streets. Elara hesitated at the alley's entrance, peering into darkness that seemed to breathe. Rowan's hand rested lightly on their back, a grounding anchor amidst uncertainty. Nia pointed toward graffiti-marked walls, noting symbols that mirrored the letters' codes. Each observation deepened the puzzle, revealing layers hidden beneath the city's usual chaos. The velvet blade's shadow moved in alleyways beyond reach, observing, waiting for mistakes. Even the air felt charged, humming with the weight of unspoken truths. Every step forward carried risk. Every glance could uncover something better left unseen. The night refused to yield clarity easily, yet the threads of discovery pulled them forward. They discovered a narrow staircase descending into shadow, hidden behind crumbling brick. Elara hesitated, letter clutched tightly, heart pounding with the thrill and fear of revelation. Rowan whispered, urging calm, while eyes scanned the perimeter. Nia's pencil traced the patterns on the wall, linking graffiti to the symbols in the letter, her movements quick and precise. The Clara photograph trembled on the staircase edge, as if warning them of what lay below. Each step seemed amplified in silence, every creak a herald of confrontation. Somewhere beyond, the velvet blade calculated distance and timing, orchestrating presence with invisible control. Their breaths mingled with the damp air, thick with anticipation. Discovery demanded courage, and the city held its secrets tightly, watching their approach. Descending further, the underground corridor revealed remnants of a forgotten archive, walls lined with dusty boxes and scattered papers. Elara paused to inhale, trying to steady the mind's racing thoughts. Rowan's hand rested lightly on their arm, guiding through uncertainty. Nia crouched beside a fallen ledger, pencil capturing precise details, linking diagrams to the symbols on the letter. The Clara photograph reflected faint candlelight from the corridor, its image ghostly and urgent. The velvet blade's influence was felt in every shadow and echo, orchestrating caution. Dust motes floated in the air like suspended memories, carrying the weight of secrets almost lost. Each footstep resonated against stone, a reminder that discovery often demanded patience and vigilance. The corridor opened into a vaulted chamber, damp and echoing with distant dripping water. Elara held the letter like a talisman, pulse quickening at the hidden truths it promised. Rowan crouched beside them, scanning every shadow for anomalies. Nia sketched furiously, lines connecting cryptic symbols with structural elements of the chamber. Clara's photograph fluttered on the floor as a faint draft whispered across the room. The velvet blade's strategy was subtle, invisible yet palpable, leaving the intruders to navigate the tension themselves. The air smelled of mildew and forgotten knowledge, thick with possibility. Every heartbeat, every whispered footstep, resonated with anticipation, as though the room itself held its breath for the discovery that could no longer wait. The chamber's air thickened as the distant echoes of dripping water grew sharper. Elara moved toward a partially open door, hand trembling as they pushed it, unsure of what waited beyond. Rowan crouched close, eyes scanning every shadow for movement, sensing unseen observers. Nia paused, pencil hovering over sketches, noting symbols that seemed to shift with perspective. Clara's photograph lay flat, edges curling from damp stone, its image appearing almost alive in flickering candlelight. A sudden draft swept through, rattling loose papers, and the velvet blade's presence seemed to materialize from the darkness, intangible yet palpable. Heartbeats quickened, each breath a reminder that discovery often teetered on the edge of danger. Every glance, every step, demanded focus, for the truth was rarely gentle in its unveiling. The door led to a long, narrow hall lined with mirrors, reflecting fractured images of the group. Elara's reflection seemed to multiply, each version frozen in different expressions of fear and determination. Rowan's eyes darted across the mirrored surfaces, seeking anomalies, noting that reflections didn't always match movement. Nia's sketches now included the mirror distortions, symbols overlapping reality and illusion. Clara's photograph caught a faint silhouette moving behind the glass, as if past and present converged. The velvet blade remained unseen, manipulating angles, playing with perception, forcing the group to confront uncertainty. Each step forward became a test of trust, observation, and courage, where reality itself seemed unstable. A sudden metallic clatter echoed as Elara kicked a hidden latch, revealing a concealed room beyond. Rowan motioned to advance slowly, hand ready to intercept any threat. Nia's eyes widened as symbols on the walls aligned perfectly with the letter, forming an unbroken code. Clara's photograph fluttered in the draft, edges brushing cold stone, capturing a fleeting shadow in its frame. The velvet blade's influence became undeniable, a silent orchestration of fear and misdirection. Every heartbeat seemed amplified, echoing against the chamber's walls, each footstep threatening to trigger a trap. Reality and memory merged in that hidden space, daring the intruders to face what had been carefully concealed. Inside the concealed room, stacks of documents and artifacts lay undisturbed for years. Elara carefully lifted a folder, revealing photographs of people they recognized, moments long erased from memory. Rowan gently brushed dust from the items, revealing maps and coded notes pointing toward unresolved mysteries. Nia traced lines across diagrams connecting events, dates, and locations, her sketches revealing patterns previously unnoticed. Clara's photograph now rested at the center of the table, seemingly responding to the light, reflecting both hope and warning. The velvet blade's strategy became clear. Every discovery was a test, every clue a trap, challenging patience and intellect. The group realized the chamber was a repository not just of evidence, but of understanding and consequence. The final revelation came quietly. Elara pieced together the letter, photographs, and sketches, forming a cohesive narrative that explained the hidden crimes and lost memories. Rowan stood close, offering reassurance, eyes scanning the chamber for unseen dangers. Nia's sketches now completed, illustrating the timeline and connections with startling clarity. Clara's photograph seemed to settle, edges still damp, as though the truth had granted it peace. The velvet blade's unseen orchestration left a lingering tension, a reminder that discovery never absolves completely. Each participant understood the weight of what they had uncovered, the responsibility carried forward, and the delicate balance between knowing and remaining vigilant. Shadows softened, light filled corners, yet the past and its consequences lingered, reminding them that history is never fully silent. Elara's hands shook as the chamber door creaked open, revealing a dim hall. Rowan signaled caution, eyes scanning shadows. Nia followed, clutching sketches that now made sense. Clara's photograph glimmered faintly, as though urging them onward. Each step drew them closer to the unseen force manipulating their fears. Silence pressed against them, anticipation thick in the damp air. Mirrors lined the hallway, reflecting their movements in fragmented images. Elara hesitated as reflections shifted unnaturally. Rowan whispered warnings, every reflection a potential threat. Nia traced patterns in the mirrors, revealing hidden paths. Clara's photograph shimmered, guiding them forward. Every moment stretched, fear and clarity intertwining, the velvet blade's presence undeniable. A hidden chamber emerged at the hallway's end, filled with evidence long lost. Elara stepped inside, heart pounding. Rowan checked corners for threats. Mia examined symbols on the walls, linking them to prior sketches. Clara's photograph hovered near the center, light flickering over old documents. The truth felt close, yet danger lingered in every shadow. A sudden clatter echoed as the velvet blade finally revealed a silhouette in shadow. Elara raised hands, cautious. Rowan's stance became defensive, protective. Mia sketched rapidly, noting the silhouette's patterns and gestures. Clara's photograph fluttered in a draft, edges glowing brighter. The confrontation felt inevitable, destiny and danger entwined. Truth and fear collided. Elara confronted the velvet blade, revealing secrets long buried. Rowan flanked her, steady and alert. Mia's final sketch completed the puzzle, illuminating paths to justice. Clara's photograph shimmered, reflecting closure and remembrance. Shadows receded slightly, yet the weight of discovery remained. Courage and knowledge intertwined as the final confrontation ended, leaving only echoes of revelation. The chamber breathed in silence after the confrontation. Elara exhaled, scanning the remnants of evidence with a mix of relief and lingering dread. Rowan remained vigilant, eyes still tracing the shadows where danger might hide. Mia carefully rolled up her sketches, each line now a key to understanding what had unfolded. Clara's photograph glimmered faintly, as if acknowledging their courage. Outside, the storm had passed, leaving soft light to filter through shattered windows. Every movement was measured, every glance cautious, yet hope stirred quietly, a fragile thread weaving through their weary hearts. The chamber, once threatening, now felt like a threshold between fear and new beginnings. Stepping outside, the trio felt the freshness of the post-storm air. Elara lifted her gaze to the distant horizon, clouds parting to reveal sunlit hills. Rowan adjusted his coat, shoulders tense but relaxing with each breath. Mia held her sketches to the light, their contents casting subtle reflections on her determined face. The world beyond the chamber seemed vast and inviting, yet memories of the ordeal lingered like gentle shadows. The photograph in her pocket twinkled faintly, a reminder that every struggle carried meaning. They walked slowly across the wet cobblestones, careful not to disturb remnants of the storm, yet each step resonated with newfound purpose. Silence enveloped them, not heavy but comforting, a quiet testament to survival and resolve. In a quiet courtyard, remnants of the city's turmoil blended with signs of renewal. Elara knelt beside a small sapling sprouting between cracks, tracing the fragile leaves with her fingertips. Rowan scanned rooftops, then allowed a rare smile to curve his lips, sensing safety in the present moment. Mia set sketches on a nearby stone ledge, aligning symbols with fallen sunlight. Clara's photograph shimmered faintly in the breeze, almost dancing, as if acknowledging closure. The trio shared a brief glance, unspoken gratitude passing between them. For the first time in weeks, fear seemed distant, replaced by a cautious optimism. Their journey had forged bonds stronger than circumstance, guiding them toward an uncertain yet promising future. Evening descended, casting golden hues across the city's silhouette. Elara leaned against a weathered wall, exhaling a quiet sigh of relief. Rowan settled on a nearby bench, hands clasped, observing subtle movements of people returning to their routines. Mia sketched one last image of the cityscape, preserving a memory of endurance and courage. Clara's photograph glimmered softly in her hand, reflecting the warm, fading light. Conversations from the streets below filtered up faintly, promising continuity and life beyond the trials they endured. A profound calm enveloped them, a fragile sense of normalcy that contrasted with everything they had faced. Hope was no longer distant, it rested within reach, tender but undeniable. Night arrived, stars emerging over quiet rooftops. Elara, Rowan and Mia stood together, silhouettes framed by moonlight. Clara's photograph shimmered between them, a final testament to lessons learned. Shadows of the past lingered but no longer dictated their paths. Each carried fragments of fear, courage, and hope interwoven into resilience. With one last glance at the horizon, they stepped forward into the unknown, united by experience and trust. The city, though scarred, seemed alive with promise. Their journey had ended, yet the story of survival and renewal whispered in every corner, a reminder that even in darkness, light persists and bonds endure. Dawn painted the city in soft pastels, hinting at renewal. Elara emerged from the remnants of the old chamber, her gaze lingering on rooftops kissed by first light. Rowan followed closely, scanning streets with a careful optimism, noting signs of life returning. Mia clutched her sketches, now vivid with interpretations of hope and resilience. Clara's photograph reflected sunlight, casting ephemeral patterns on the walls. Birds stirred overhead, and the air carried faint scents of damp earth and fresh leaves. Every step felt purposeful yet tentative, as if the city itself was breathing alongside them. The weight of past fears lingered, but the promise of a new day imbued them with quiet courage. Small movements, subtle smiles, and unspoken understanding bound them in shared determination, ready to rebuild what had been fractured. The city streets began to stir with life, shops reopening, and voices echoing across alleyways. Elara paused to help a vendor reset a fallen cart, her movements careful yet confident. Rowan adjusted his coat and nodded to passers-by, sensing cautious camaraderie. Mia sketched children playing near a fountain, capturing motion and innocence in vibrant lines. Clara's photograph floated in her hand, glimmering with soft light. Each moment reinforced a sense of renewal, the ordinary weaving into extraordinary meaning. The trio shared glances, acknowledging their shared journey silently. Hope no longer felt abstract. It pulsed in every step, every smile, and every quiet act of kindness. The city, scarred but alive, seemed to breathe in harmony with their own cautious but determined rhythms. At the city park, the trio paused beneath towering oaks, leaves glinting in the morning light. Elara knelt to examine new blooms, fingers brushing petals, a quiet reverence in her gestures. Rowan sat on a bench, observing joggers and laughter echoing around them. Mia traced sketches into the air with subtle hand movements, imagining the lines coming alive with stories. Clara's photograph shimmered, reflecting both shadows and sunlight. The park, a mosaic of motion and color, seemed alive in celebration of life reclaimed. Conversations, laughter, and the rustle of leaves formed a gentle symphony, grounding them in the present. Their journey, once fraught with fear and uncertainty, had matured into resilience and cautious optimism. Bonds forged in adversity now felt unbreakable, anchored in shared endurance and newfound hope. Afternoon light bathed the city square in golden warmth. Elara helped install banners for a small festival, laughter occasionally escaping her lips. Rowan carried supplies, exchanging brief smiles with townsfolk returning to normal routines. Mia displayed her sketches on a makeshift stand, children and adults alike peering curiously at the lines and forms. Clara's photograph shimmered atop the stand, casting soft glimmers across the cobblestones. Sounds of music and chatter filled the air, intertwining with the scent of fresh bread and flowers. Every act, every exchange, reinforced the triumph over darkness. Each member of the trio felt a sense of grounded accomplishment, witnessing life flowing around them with quiet celebration. Their journey had culminated in restoration, both internal and external, a testament to perseverance and unity. Twilight settled over the city, painting the skyline in deep purples and oranges. Elara, Rowan, and Mia stood on a rooftop, gazing over streets alive with life and laughter. Clara's photograph shimmered faintly, casting tiny reflections on their faces. They shared quiet smiles, a mutual acknowledgement of trials overcome, and the bonds that had deepened through adversity. The wind carried scents of the festival below and distant blooms, blending with the soft hum of evening activity. Their journey, once shadowed by fear and uncertainty, had matured into purpose and calm resolve. Each felt the weight of the past balanced by hope, the knowledge that even in darkness, light persists. Together, they watched the city breathe, ready to face whatever came next with courage, trust, and unity. Morning light spilled across the city, casting long golden shadows that danced across the cobblestones. Elara moved through the narrow streets, her coat brushing against walls streaked with early sunlight, eyes alert yet calm. Rowan followed closely, carrying a bundle of letters and supplies, his gaze scanning rooftops for signs of activity. Mia sketched animatedly on a large pad, capturing scenes of rebuilding and small moments of joy. Clara's photograph hovered gently in the air, reflecting the interplay of light and shadow, almost as if whispering fragments of the past. Merchants arranged fresh produce and flowers, children laughed near fountains, and the aroma of bread filled the air. Every detail, every flicker of movement, every smile, every fleeting shadow reminded them of resilience and the beauty of ordinary life. Their journey had taught them patience, courage, and the quiet triumph of persistence. By midday, the city square buzzed with energy, laughter intertwining with music and chatter. Elara helped anchor a canvas for a street performance, steady hands balancing precision with enthusiasm. Rowan handed out refreshments, nodding and smiling at returning townsfolk, feeling the pulse of community. Mia traced her sketches with rapid strokes, transforming them into visions of movement and joy, drawing curious glances from passers-by. Clara's photograph glimmered softly, capturing reflections of the lively square, amplifying the sense of renewal. The trio exchanged brief smiles, silent recognition of shared effort and progress. Life, once fragile, now surged around them in full bloom. Even the shadows, softened by sunlight, hinted at stories of endurance, courage, and hope. Each detail, from fluttering banners to children's laughter, wove a tapestry of resilience and quiet triumph that enveloped the city. Afternoon shadows stretched long across the park, where the trio rested beneath the old oaks, leaves whispering secrets in the breeze. Elara knelt beside a patch of newly sprouted flowers, brushing soil gently as if tending hope itself. Rowan leaned against a tree, reading letters from distant friends, their words a balm to his contemplative mind. Mia's sketches captured the movement of a kite flying above children, tracing arcs of color and motion on her pad. Clara's photograph shimmered above them, subtly shifting to capture fragments of past victories and current serenity. The park, a sanctuary of green and light, felt like a living tapestry of resilience, weaving together stories of loss, struggle, and the triumph of quiet perseverance. Each breath, each laugh, each subtle glance reinforced their connection to the city and to one another, a testament to shared endurance and unwavering hope. Evening fell, casting a copper glow across the rooftops. Elara and Rowan climbed to a terrace overlooking the bustling streets, surveying the city now alive with music, lights, and laughter. Mia perched nearby, sketching the interplay of movement and light, capturing joy frozen in lines. Clara's photograph floated mid-air, catching twilight hues, glowing softly as if anchoring moments of triumph and quiet reflection. From below, festival lights twinkled and children danced, vendors called out, and distant church bells chimed, harmonizing with the hum of returning life. Their journey, once fraught with danger and uncertainty, now settled into a rhythm of calm vigilance and celebration. Each glance, each smile shared, confirmed their bonds, strengthened by struggle and resilience. Together, they embraced the fullness of the city's rebirth, witnessing their shared dream manifest in real, tangible beauty. Night draped the city in deep blues and purples, stars reflecting faintly on rooftops and fountains. Elara, Rowan, and Mia walked through lantern-lit streets, their shadows stretching long behind them. Clara's photograph hovered in the center, casting soft iridescence across their path, connecting past struggles with the present peace. Music floated from the square, laughter from open windows, and the scent of night-blooming flowers filled the air. Every corner they passed whispered stories of triumph, recovery, and the beauty of ordinary moments reclaimed. The trio exchanged contented glances, a silent acknowledgement of journeys concluded and horizons opened. Their city, once scarred, now thrived. Life pulsed in every alley, every laughter-filled street, and every soft candle glow, a reminder that light endures even after the darkest trials. The night itself seemed to breathe in harmony with their hearts, a perfect culmination of perseverance, hope, and unity.